right. Good evening, everyone. How's everyone doing? Hopefully everyone's doing well. All right, so let's go ahead and get started. Let's find a comfortable seated position on our mats. And let me just throw the Spotify playlist in the chat box. For those who are on Instagram and Facebook, please refer to the post I just posted on how to find my playlist on Spotify. All right, and let's get a comfortable seated position going. All right. All right, so either we're sitting on the edge of a block, we're sitting on the edge of a pillow, whatever feels good for us this evening. If you feel like lying down, that's perfectly fine to lie down, whatever feels good for you. And simply just close the eyes. Sitting tall, or if you're lying down, wherever you are, just relaxing the shoulders away from the ears. Noticing the breath. Just taking this moment of stillness to notice what is coming in the body, noticing what sensations we are becoming aware of, perhaps that we haven't noticed all day, maybe all week, maybe all month, maybe all year, whatever is coming up for us, just noticing what's coming up. Noticing how the breath feels. Relaxing the shoulders away from the ears. Noticing the movement of the body in accordance with the breath. The belly moving away from the spine on every inhale. And the belly moving towards the spine on every exhale. The chest expanding. Perhaps feeling the breath move through all areas of our body. And along with the physical body, along with the breath, just noticing in this moment where the mind is, and not judging or labeling where the mind is as good or bad, right or wrong, or judging our mind for where we want it to be, just simply noticing where the mind is right now. Noticing if we are in the past, in the future, perhaps stuck in a worry, maybe stuck in frustration, maybe we're stuck in love or excitement or joy, whatever feeling it is. We're not judging or labeling these feelings. We're simply just observing, just noticing. And while we're noticing where the mind is, I'm going to continue to read a small passage from that Journey to the Heart book that I've been reading in every class. And today's title of the passage is called Discover True Power. And I think this is a great time in all of our lives when this passage may ring true in many ways. So I invite you to keep an open mind, open heart to if any of these words really resonate with you tonight. Much of our journey involves learning about power. We learn about the powers we don't have, the power to control others, sometimes ourselves, and fate. We discover our true power, the power to take an endless journey into freedom and love. We talk about experience and experiment with many kinds of power along the way. The power of authority, the power of money, the power of prestige, the power of control. the power of rage, anger, intimidation. We see many kinds of negative powers: manipulation, deceit, fraud. We see people trying to steal power from others. We see people letting others take their power away, crawling into shells, hiding, and being dragged along by others. We see that many forms of power are illusions. Money goes just so far. Prestige is fleeting. Popularity holds no immunity from life's experiences. Control is only momentary. We turn our backs and the situation reverts. We trudge the road searching for power, learning about our own. Somewhere on the journey, we begin to see the truth. It awakens quietly within us, shaking our soul, transforming our vision, teaching us what we knew all along. The power that lasts, the power that stays, is the power of the heart. So I invite you to take a moment just to reflect on if any of that passage rang true to you in any way. Just noticing, and I think this is a wonderful time to think about what power means to us, right? And the idea of thinking about what is it in our lives that we actually do have power over. Another way to word this is really the idea of control, right? So what do we actually have control over in our lives? And what is it that we do not have control over? And where can we put our energy towards? Knowing that we can't control others, we can't control what happens around us, we can't control nature, right? We can't control what arises around us globally, climate-wise. What we can do is do our best that we do have control over, right? So something to think about as we move through our practice today is, in each moment, what do we have control over? And maybe we can put more of our energy towards that instead of trying so hard to control what we can't around us. So taking a moment to reflect on what the idea of control means to us. And if there's any other intention that you'd like to set for your practice this evening, setting that intention for yourself in this moment. Slowly start to deepen the breath, bringing movement into the body, wiggling the fingers, wiggling the toes, maybe even doing some gentle neck circles just to open up the cervical spine. Just doing a neck circle, half circle, full circle, whatever feels good to you, reversing directions. And then coming to a still point, shrugging the shoulders up to the ears and back down. And then doing another shrug, shrugging the shoulders up to the ears and back down. We'll take this moment to remove ourselves if we're sitting on the edge of a block or a blanket, coming onto our hands and our knees, getting ready for a few rounds of cat and cow. Our hands are underneath our shoulders, our fingers are spread wide, our knees are hips width apart, untuck the toes, and keep the cervical spine long. So keeping the gaze down, the crown of the head is reaching in front of you. Take a deep inhale as we move the belly towards the mat, bringing our gaze up into cow. Exhaling as we round the spine, the gaze moving towards the navel into cat. Inhaling again, belly moving towards the mat, gaze up, cow. And exhaling as we round the spine. Continue doing a few more rounds of cat and cow with your own breath. Going at your own pace, just really moving with your own breath, your own pace. Good, keeping that going. And adding on any movements that feel good for you in the body as well. So maybe moving the hips in circles if that feels good to you. For some of you, it may feel good to flip the wrist, facing the fingertips towards you, especially if you've been using the computer a lot, which I'm sure we all have been using more of. So whatever feels good to you, maybe gazing back at your heels, getting a nice lateral stretch. And just doing a few more rounds, just getting some nice movement into the body, into the spine and the hips. And on the next breath, slowly start to come back into a neutral tabletop position and sit the hips back on the heels, the arms out in front of you, coming into a child's pose, bringing the forehead to the mat, maybe even rocking the body left and right if that feels good to you. And if you want to activate your child's pose, you can come onto the fingertips, raising the arms up high from the mat, seeing how that feels for you, activating the shoulders. And then we'll slowly roll up one vertebra at a time. When you get to the top, shrug the shoulders up to the ears and back down. All right, this is a great time to start the playlist. Please press play on the playlist and go to the second song. And if you are on Instagram Live or Facebook Live, please see my previous post on finding my playlist on Spotify. It's called Sunset W/ with Nina. So you can find that there. So please go to the second song and we'll all meet back in downward dog. So take the next few breaths to set up the music and then we'll all meet back in downward dog. The palms are shoulders width apart, fingers spread wide. The feet are hips width apart, shoulders away from the ears, and just let the head hang today. So we're gonna let go of control, right? So we tend to kind of try to hold ourselves up in many ways, try to control the way that our neck even is. So let's just see if we can relax the neck today, relax the shoulders today, and try to let go of a little bit of control as we move through our practice. And when you do get into your downward dog, just bend the knees, getting comfortable, wagging the tail. Breathing here, noticing the breath here in this moment in your downward dog. Once again, we're not controlling our downward dog. We're not trying to reach our heels towards the mat today. We're just seeing where our body is. We're meeting each moment, where each moment is. Breathing here, shoulders away from the ears. In downward dog, nod the head yes. Shake the head no. Look to the front of your mat. Gently walk your feet to your hands, or you can step forward. Bringing the feet about hips width apart, grabbing opposite elbows, coming into ragdoll, letting the head hang, the shoulders relax, maybe even bending the knees and swinging left and right if that feels good for you. Just breathing here in ragdoll, getting that nice hamstring stretch, the backs of the legs. And on the next breath, release the hands down. Slowly roll up one vertebra at a time. When you get to the top, shrug the shoulders up to the ears and back down. So place your feet together at the top of the mat. Arms to the side, standing in Tadasana in mountain pose. So breathing there as we start our Surya Namaskar A. So your feet together at the top of the mat. Hands to the side. We'll take a big inhale. Inhale, arms up to the sky, Urdhva Hastasana, gaze up. Exhale, forward fold, Uttanasana, hinging forward at the hips. Inhale, come up halfway, Ardha Uttanasana, crown of the head reaching in front of you. And exhale, as you plant both hands, bend both knees. Bring the left foot back, bring the right foot back, coming into a high plank. So we're staying here in a high plank. Shoulders over the wrists. The knees are lifted. The kneecaps are lifted and the Gaze is down, the crown of the head reaching in front of you. Engage that core, bringing the belly to the spine. Breathing here for 5, 4, feel that heat building. 3, 2, 1, roll back into downward dog. Breathing here. Wagging the tail, pedaling the feet, getting comfortable here in that downward dog. Beautiful. Breathing here. On the next breath, look to the front of your mat. Step or jump your feet to your hands. Inhaling halfway up, Ardha Uttanasana. Exhale, fold Uttanasana. Inhale, rise up to standing, Urdhva Hastasana. Gaze up at the palms. Palms down at the heart. And to the side. And again, inhale, Urdhva Hastasana. Gaze up. Exhale, forward fold, Uttanasana. Inhale, halfway up, Ardha Uttanasana. Exhale, as you plant both hands, bend both knees, bring the left foot back. Bring the right foot back, coming back into your high plank. This time, lower all the way down to the mat. Untuck the toes, bring the tops of the feet down on the mat. Slide your hands out about 6 inches in front of you. Squeeze the elbows into the body, the gaze down as you lift the elbows up. Inhale, up cobra, Bhujangasana. Breathing here. And exhale as you bring the chin back down to the mat. Slide the hands back underneath the shoulders. Squeeze those elbows into the body. You're squeezing those elbows in. Tuck the toes. Lift the knees up. Push up, high plank. And go back downward dog. Breathing here. Taking a few deep breaths here. Relaxing the shoulders away from the ears. Nodding the head yes. Shaking the head no. Look to the front of your mat. Step or jump your feet to your hands. Inhaling halfway up, Ardha Uttanasana. Exhale, fold. Inhale, rise up to standing, Urdhva Hastasana. Gaze up at the palms. Palms down at the heart. And to the side. And again, building more. Inhale, Urdhva Hastasana. Gaze up. Exhale, forward fold, Uttanasana. Inhale, halfway up, Ardha Uttanasana. Exhale as you bend both knees, plant both hands. Bring the left foot back. Bring the right foot back. Coming back into your high plank. Option here to do cobra or shift forward into Chaturanga Dandasana. Bending the elbows down. Inhaling as the heart moves through upward dog or cobra. And exhale as we all meet back in downward dog. Breathing here in our downward dog. Few deep breaths, relaxing the shoulders away from the ears, feeling that heat in the body, the yang part of our practice. That solar energy, the sun's energy. Breathing here, fingers spread wide. Really root down into the inner corners of both of your hands, in between your index fingers and your thumbs. Really rooting down there in those corners. Nod the head yes. Shake the head no. Look to the front of your mat. Step or jump your feet to your hands. Inhaling halfway up, Ardha Uttanasana. Exhale, fold. Inhale, rise up to standing, Urdhva Hastasana. Gaze up at the palms. Palms down at the heart. And at the side, let's keep this going. Inhale, Urdhva Hastasana. Gaze up. Exhale, forward fold, Uttanasana. Inhale, halfway up, Ardha Uttanasana. Exhale, step or jump back, Chaturanga Dandasana or Cobra variation. Inhaling the heart through. Exhaling as we roll back into downward dog. Breathing here. Noticing what's coming up in the body and noticing what it is in this moment that we are trying to control. What is it that we want to control in this very moment? And how can we let go of the need to control what comes up? How can we just sit with what is coming up for us? On the next breath, keep your left foot on the mat. Float that right leg up to the sky, long three-legged dog. Open up that right hip by bending that right leg. Breathing here. Float that right leg back up to the sky. Inhale as you shift forward, bringing that right knee to your nose. Squeeze that right knee up to the body. Breathing here, engaging that core as we float that right leg back up to the sky. Shift forward as you bring your knee to your nose. This time tap your left elbow and float that right leg back up to the sky. Shift forward, bringing that knee to the nose. Tap that right elbow and bring that right knee up to the sky. Shift forward as we bring that right knee to the nose. Place that right foot down on the mat. Actually lower your left knee. So you're lowering your left knee. Feel free to bring a blanket or a pillow or roll up your mat underneath that left knee. As we rise up in Anjaneyasana. So in Anjaneyasana, it's okay if your right knee moves past your right ankle. Okay, so let that sink in. Make sure that you don't feel extreme pain on your left knee. If you feel pain, that means you need to back off that left knee a little bit more. Options here, you can just bring the arms up to frame the ears. If you want to add a little back bend, cactus arms with your arms back, cactus arms, palms facing the sky, breathing here, keeping that breath moving. Really important in this to keep the breath moving, not holding in our breath. Breathing here. On the next breath, gently use the hands to bring that knee back over that right ankle. Okay, so breathing here, bring both hands down around that right foot, tuck the left toes, lift that left knee up, use your core to bring your right foot back to meet your left foot and move through your vinyasa. We'll all meet back in downward dog, moving through your vinyasa. When you get to your downward dog, nodding the head yes, shaking the head no. On the next breath, keep your right foot on the mat. Float that left leg up to the sky. Long three-legged dog. Open up that left hip by bending that left leg, keeping that right foot planted. Breathing here. On the next breath, straighten that left leg back up to the sky. Inhale as you bring that left knee to your nose, squeezing that knee up towards the body. Engage that core. Breathing here and float that left leg back up to the sky. Shift forward, bringing your knee to your nose. Tap your right elbow and bring that left knee to the sky. Shift forward, bringing your left knee to your nose. Tap your left elbow and bring that left leg to the sky. Shift forward, bringing your left knee to your nose. Squeezing here as you bring your left foot down on the mat. Lower your right knee down on the mat. Coming into Anjaneyasana on the other side. It's okay if your left knee moves far past your left ankle. Breathing here, options for arms. Bring the arms up to the sky. If you want a little bit of a back bend, then use the arms as cactus arms as you open up the heart. Really important to keep the breath moving here. We don't want to hold the breath in. We want to keep the breath moving. Breathing here. On the next breath, use your hands to very gently bring your left knee back over that left ankle. Release the hands down to either side of that left foot. Tuck the right toes, lift that right knee up. Use that core to bring the left foot back to meet the right foot and move through your vinyasa. We'll all meet back in downward dog. Breathing here. Shoulders away from the ears, relaxing the head down. Noticing what's coming up in the body, noticing what it is that we are trying to control in this moment. And how can we let go of that in this moment? Nod the head yes. Shake the head no. Look to the front of your mat. Separate, jump your feet to your hands. Inhaling halfway up, Ardha Uttanasana. Exhale, fold. Inhale as you rise up to standing, Urdhva Hastasana, gaze up at the palms. Palms down at the heart and to the side. On the next breath, we're gonna simply just hop our feet about hips width apart. So I'll face the camera here. So hop your feet about hips width apart. Breathing here, hands on the hips. Inhale as you open the heart up to the sky, leaning back. Exhale as you forward fold all the way down. You can release the hands down to the mat in front of you to get a nice forward fold, relaxing the neck down, relaxing the head down. For some of you, it may feel good to grab your big toes, and you can move your elbows out like elephant ears, whatever feels good to you. So breathing there. Letting those deep breaths come through. And feel free to bend your knees. It may feel good to bend your knees and just let the head hang. So just bend the knees. Breathing here, maybe grabbing opposite elbows and swaying left and right. Letting that neck relax, that head relax. On that next breath, come up halfway very gently. Place your hands on your hips, taking a deep inhale here halfway, deep exhale, and then slowly, slowly, slowly roll up to standing, breathing here. On the next breath, shrug the shoulders up to the ears and back down. So we're gonna do 2 standing balancing poses before we come down to the mat. So find a comfortable place on your mat that you can kind of stand. There's nothing around you in your way. The first pose that we're going to do is tree pose, Vrikshasana. So in Vrikshasana, keep your feet about hips width apart. Okay, and option to keep your eyes closed if you would like for this, or you can keep your eyes open. But imagine what it is right now. So we're on both of our feet, and we really want to root down into both of our feet right now. So we should feel like we're in the middle. We shouldn't feel like we're leaning to one side or the other. We're in the middle right now. So really root down and feel what it's like to really root down through both of your feet, almost like they're tree trunks that are coming down to the ground beyond the mat. Okay, so imagining that. And once you imagine that, now notice what it'd be like to shift onto the right leg. Okay, so your right foot. That left foot is light enough that I could pick it up, right? So that left foot is light enough because most of the weight is on the right foot. Options here for tree, depending on what level you are at or what level you would like to try today. So option is you can bring your left heel to your right ankle. This could be tree here. You can bring your left foot to your right calf. We never want to put our left foot onto our knees, okay? That's going to cause some knee injuries here. So we want to always bring our left foot below the right knee or above the right knee. Okay, option for a more advanced practitioner is to come into half lotus with the bind, okay? So wherever you are in your tree, find that tree on the right leg, right? So you're standing there, finding that balance wherever you are. Bringing the palms together at the heart. So wherever you are, palms together at the heart, finding a still point in front of you, something that is not moving. And if you're ready, perhaps wanting to grow your branches wide. So finding a balance here, shoulders away from the ears. And it's okay, if you wobble, then you just laugh, have fun with it, come back in, right? We can't control our practice, right? We can't always control our balance at every moment. So just have fun with it, come back in. For some of you, it may be an extra balance challenge to bring the gaze up to the ceiling. Okay, so that's kind of the next step. If you feel like you have a good balance going, then you can bring the gaze to the ceiling. For some of you, it may be challenging to even try to close the eyes for a few moments at a time. Okay, so just a few more breaths here wherever you are. Finding that balance. And on the next breath, palms up overhead, palms down at the heart. And release that left foot down. Roll over the toes if there's any pain. Great job, everyone. And then come back onto your mat, spreading the feet about hips width apart. An option here to close the eyes, keep the gaze open if that feels good to you, wherever you are. But rebalance yourself. So see what it feels like to rebalance, all right? So you feel like you're in the center of gravity again. I know your body might want to go onto your right foot, but see if you can recenter the body to the middle. Just noticing what it feels like that we can shift right at any moment. So breathing here, finding this balance. And then once you've recentered yourself, see what it feels like to shift onto your left foot now. Okay, so not so much that we're going to fall over, but that our right foot feels lighter. We can just kind of pick up our right foot. Okay, so we're shifting onto our left foot and coming into tree on the other side. Couple options here for tree. Your right heel can hug your left ankle. Your right heel can be on your left calf, never on the knee, right below or above the knee. It can be close to the seat. For some of you, it may feel good to do half lotus. So finding your tree on the other side, the other foot. Okay, so finding what feels comfortable for you on the other side. I'm sorry for those that are Instagram living. My phone tends to want to blink the screen a lot, so I'll fix this for next week for sure. So wherever you are in your tree, palms together at the heart. Finding a still point in front of you, something that is not moving that you can find your balance on. And when you've found that still point, growing the branches tall if that feels good to you. Relaxing the shoulders away from the ears. And for some of you that want to challenge yourselves, you can slowly bring the gaze to the ceiling. Or it may be a challenge to close the eyes for a few moments at a time. Letting go of that control, right? Just kind of trusting. Trusting that even if we fall in this moment, that we can get back up, right? We're letting go of that control to be perfect, that control for it to be what we need it to be right now. Breathing here, finding that balance. On the next breath, bring the palms up overhead, palms down at the heart, and releasing that left foot down, rolling over the toes. Great job, everyone. Strong trees out there. All right. So the next balancing asana that we are going to do, the posture that we're going to do is called Garudasana, which is eagle pose. This is a really nice pose. It feels really good because you're kind of squeezing the whole body, and then you're kind of providing fresh circulation. So it kind of feels like a reset pose in a way. Okay, so in this pose, we're going to start off in Utkatasana, which is awkward chair pose. So from a side view, we're kind of sitting back like we're in a chair, okay? So sit back in a chair. So you're kind of sitting back in a chair, and I want you to swing your arms like you were an eagle. Okay, so we're going to channel our inner eagles right now, swinging the arms. And I want you to, on the next time your left arm is underneath, swing your left arm underneath and see if you can bring the palms together. If you can't, it's okay to grab the shoulders, okay, wherever you are. Sitting back in that chair, bring that left foot out to your left. Okay, so your left foot out to your left, and bring that left foot up and over that right knee. Some of you may even be able to tuck your left foot behind your right calf. It's okay if you can't. Sitting in eagle pose, bringing our shoulders in line with our elbows. Okay, breathing here in eagle. Squeezing everything together. Trying to center yourself, noticing if your body's swaying to one side. See if you can bring your body to the center. Breathing here, keeping that breath moving. Finding that balance. Shoulders are in line with the elbows. And take a deep breath as you unwind from eagle. So unwind from eagle, painting a circle up to the sky with the palms, and then painting a circle down. Breathing here. Great job. All right, so let's get back into that Utkatasana chair pose. Let's fly our wings again. Getting ready for eagle on the other side. Flying our wings. The next time your right arm swings underneath your left arm, bind them here. Option to hold the shoulders if you need. This time, bring the right leg out to the right and swing that right leg up and over that left knee. Okay, it's okay if your right foot is sticking out. Mine does on the right side. For some of you, you can tuck that right foot beneath that left calf. See if you can bring the shoulders up in line with the elbows. Breathing here. Keeping that breath moving. Everything is squeezing in our body. And as soon as we release our arms, we will find fresh oxygen, fresh circulation. Whew. And if you fall out like I did, you just get back in. Have fun with it. One more deep breath here. And then bend forward and release the wings, painting a circle up to the sky. And then painting a circle down. Beautiful. On the next breath, walk to the front of your mat. Coming up to the front of your mat, feet together at the top of the mat. Breathing here. We're going to flow all the way down to our mats. Inhale, Urdhva Hastasana, gaze up at the palms. Exhale, forward fold, Uttanasana. Inhale, halfway up, Ardha Uttanasana. Exhale, step or jump back, Chaturanga, Cobra, or if you want to go straight back into Downward Dog, that's always an option for you. We'll all be back in Downward Dog. And when you get to your Downward Dog, bring the knees down, arms out in front of you, come into Child's Pose, taking a moment of rest. A moment to connect back to that intention that you set at the beginning of class. Just seeing who's on Instagram. Hi, everyone. Setting that intention. Noticing what's coming up in the body. So noticing what sensations are coming up in the body. And where can we let go of control in this moment? Where can we let go of what needs to be happening in this moment and meeting this moment where it is? And on the next breath, gently come back up into your Downward Dog. Raising those hips high to the sky. On the next breath, float that right leg up to the sky. Shift forward, bringing your knee to your nose, but this time land that right knee on the mat and untuck those left toes, coming into pigeon pose. This is a great time if you have any props, so blankets, pillows, it's a great time to lay a blanket or a pillow in front of you, all right? If you have a block or another blanket and your right hip is really, really off the mat, that's a great time to add a block or a blanket underneath that hip as well. Puff the pigeon for a moment, and then exhale as you slowly lower all the way down, perhaps bringing the arms out in front of you, letting the forehead touch the mat. Breathing here. It'll be nice for many of you to have a blanket or a pillow in front of you to land yourself on. Relaxing the jaw as we enter the yin phase of our practice, really tapping into that lunar energy, that receiving energy versus doing. And I want you to imagine like there's a gentle, as if, you know, either myself, if we're in class together, or someone that you really trust and feel safe with, is just gently bringing that right hip in line with the left. So kind of squaring those right hips. That right hip is slightly coming back a little more and coming down towards the mat. So I want you to imagine that right now. And you can do a self-adjustment if that feels good to you. But just simply lying here in pigeon. Just being in more stillness here. Relaxing the jaw, relaxing the face. Really getting into our hips now and these pigeon poses that we're doing. And seeing how we can just let go of doing work and just simply be in this moment. And taking this moment, noticing if our mind wanders to a place where we are trying to have control, perhaps control of the past, or perhaps control of the future. Where can we just be in this moment and ground ourselves into what is happening right now? Perhaps that can be by noticing what is popping up in the body for us, noticing what sensations are coming up for us. Or perhaps that's just focusing on the breath, just noticing the breath in our body. Just a few more deep breaths wherever you are. And on the next breath, just slowly start to bring yourself back to the center. Just gently rising up from laying forward. You can puff your pigeon by coming onto your fingertips if that feels good to you. Plant your hands down onto the mat. Tuck your left toes. Lift that left knee up and slowly come back into a downward dog. It may feel good for some of you to float that right leg up to the sky and maybe even opening up that right hip by bending that right leg. And then bring that right foot back down to the mat, coming back into our downward dog. On the next breath, float that left leg up to the sky, shift that left knee up to the nose and lower that left knee down on the mat. Untuck those right toes, coming into pigeon on the other side. It may feel good to have a blanket or a pillow, whatever feels good for you in pigeon. Okay, so breathing here. And if you notice that that left hip is really popping up in pigeon, feel free to grab a block or a book, a pillow, whatever feels good to kind of close that gap a little bit, right? But we're just simply folding forward, letting ourselves just receive, just be in our yin in this moment, be in that lunar energy in this moment. And I want you to imagine here, like someone you trust is coming and just gently guiding that left hip just slightly back in line with the right. Feel an extra stretch in that hip flexor. Okay, so we're pushing back on that left hip and down towards the mat. Okay, so feeling that extra stretch in that left hip flexor, breathing here. Relaxing the jaw, relaxing the neck wherever you are. Perhaps even taking this moment to come back to that intention that you set at the beginning of class, or perhaps that intention to ask ourselves where our true power is, right? And it's not in all of these external things, right? That's all fleeting, right? Everything around us, items, materials, money, people around us, right? Like we have no control over these things around us. And some of these things may be fleeting, but that true power really lies within us, right? Within the heart. That's where we know that we have that freedom, we have that power, that control, right? Over how we choose to act with our heart, right? So just taking that moment to notice where our true power is. And noticing what it is that we do have control over in life, right? What is it that we do have control over? Noticing that breath. Few more deep breaths here, wherever you are. On that next breath, gently bring the hands back to the body, gently rising up from the pigeon, planting those hands down on the mat. Tuck those right toes, lift that right knee up, and gently, gently come back into a downward dog. It may feel good for some of you to open up that left hip. And then you can bring that left foot back down onto the mat, coming into your downward dog. On the next breath, knees come down to the mat. Sitting the hips back onto the heels, swinging the hips off to one side, and coming up about halfway onto your mat. Okay, so come up about halfway up to your mat, and just slowly come all the way down to your mat. Okay, so come all the way down to your mat. Hugging the knees into the chest, giving yourself a tight squeeze, maybe rocking left and right, massaging the spine, maybe even moving the knees in circles, getting a nice little spine massage here. Lumbar spine massage, and then reverse direction, moving the knees in circles. On your next breath, hold on to that left knee and bring that right leg down to the mat. Squeeze that left knee into the body or out towards that left armpit, coming into Apanasana. And feel free to move that left knee in circles if that feels good to you as well. Breathing here. And use every inhale to loosen that grip. Use every exhale to deepen that grip. Really moving with the body, right? Really linking our breath with our movements. And on the next breath, transfer that left knee into your right hand. Swing that left knee all the way over to the right side of your body, coming into a spinal twist. Float that left arm up to the sky. Peel that left shoulder blade down towards the mat. It's okay if your left knee isn't all the way down on the ground, right? Trying to square the shoulders, the chest towards the sky. If it feels good for you, you can bring your gaze towards the left. Otherwise, keep your gaze up towards the sky or to the right, whatever feels good for your neck in this moment. The closer that left knee is to your body, the more intense that stretch. So be mindful of where the body is right now. The further that left knee from the body, the less intense the stretch. All right, so ask yourself what you are going for in this moment, right? We're not trying to control what's going on in this moment. We're simply trying to meet our body where our body is. And breathing into the spine in the spinal twist. Not controlling. We're simply meeting our body where it is. We're letting go of that need for control. It's fleeting anyway, right? The true control that we have is within. The way that we respond to what happens around us, right? We can't necessarily control how we feel, right? Feelings come in, whether we want them to or not, but we can control how we choose to consciously respond to what happens around us. That's where our control is. And that's a life's journey for a lot of us, huh? To control our reaction to things around us. I certainly am very much so a student in that area of life, trying to consciously decide how I want to respond instead of react to what's happening around me. Breathing here for just a few more moments. And on the next breath, very gently bring both feet back down onto the mat. Both knees are bent. Just gently push into the feet, lift the hips high for just a moment, just to neutralize the spine, and then lower the hips back down. Once again, squeeze both knees into the body, rocking left and right, massaging the spine. And on the next breath, hold on to that right knee as you extend down that left leg, coming into Apanasana on the other side. You're squeezing that right knee into the body or out towards the right armpit, whatever feels good for you. All right, so you're in Apanasana, squeezing that right knee into the body or out towards the right armpit. Maybe even moving that right knee in circles, if that feels good to you. And on that next breath, transfer that right knee into the left hand, swinging that right knee up and over to the left side of your body. This time, float the right arm up to the sky, lower that right shoulder blade down onto the mat, coming into a spinal twist. Remember, we're not trying to control anything in this moment. If your right knee is not touching the ground, that's perfectly okay. Mine isn't at all. It's actually pretty far away from the ground, right? So just simply meeting your body where it is. The gaze can be towards the right if that feels good to you, up at the ceiling, or the left. Just noticing what the neck needs in this moment. The closer the right knee to the body, the more intense. The further away, the less intense. Just breathing into the spine. Noticing the breath in this moment. Just noticing what is coming up in the body, noticing what is coming up in the mind. And we're simply just observing, right? We're not judging or labeling what is coming up. We're simply just observing the fluctuations of the mind, the fluctuations of the body. These fluctuations are the only constant we have, right? Change is the only constant we have in life. How can we adapt to that without the need to control when changes happen or how changes happen? And on the next breath, very slowly bring both feet back down onto the mat. Gently push into the feet, lift the hips high for just a moment to neutralize the spine. As you squeeze both knees into the body, rocking left and right, massaging the spine. And then transition into happy baby, grabbing the outsides of both of your feet. So in happy baby, you can grab the big toes, you can grab the outsides of both of your feet. Maybe even rocking left and right again. And then doing any last movements that you need for your practice this evening or coming down into the final pose of Shavasana. Using any props that you need, pillows, blankets, whatever feels good for you in Shavasana. And just sinking down into the mat, sinking down into the body. Shavasana may to many of us seem like an easy asana, right? Like of laying down, but in fact, it's probably one of the hardest asanas out there because it's stillness. And stillness can be scary, it can be uncomfortable. But it can also be one of the most powerful experiences we can have, right? To find that stillness and be okay with that stillness. Be okay with not having control of what happens in that stillness. Relaxing the jaw. Relaxing the face, relaxing the shoulders away from the ears. Stillness, faith, gentleness, kindness, compassion, joy, forgiveness, comfort, vulnerability, honesty, courage, and love. Now we're talking about power. Slowly start to deepen the breath, bringing movement into the body, wiggling the fingers, wiggling the toes, creating new sensations, new beginnings. Stretch the arms up overhead, the legs out in front of you, growing really tall, growing really long. And then rolling over onto either side, coming into a fetal position, taking a moment to collect the breath in this moment, symbolizing a new beginning, and one that we can take at any time. And then taking your time to come back onto the mat in a comfortable seated position. Option to keep the eyes open or a soft gaze on a still point in front of you, palms together at the heart, Anjali Mudra, signifying that inner power that we have, love. Giving gratitude to ourselves for showing up to our yoga practice this evening. Giving gratitude to our mind, our body, our breath, for all that they do for us in every moment. Giving gratitude to the loved ones in our lives that show up for us. And perhaps if the heart has even more space in this moment, expanding that even further to show compassion and love for all those out there that are showing up for each other as a community, as a city, as a state, a country, a world, a planet. thinking of all the ways that we can show up for one another and all the ways that others have shown up for us, even if they're not blood related or in our inner circle. And coming back to that intention that we set at the beginning of class, whether you set a personal intention or you shared in the collective class intention of finding that true power which is inside of us. Vulnerability, kindness, gentleness, courage, honesty. Those are all examples of the power that we have in our lives, what we do have control over. And knowing that our intentions don't just stay on the yoga mat, they leave with us as we get off the mat and out into our everyday lives, practicing yoga on and off the mat. That is yoga. I thank each and every one of you for coming to practice with me. It is always an honor to share this space and practice with you. Have a wonderful rest of your evening. Namaste. Thank you, everyone. If this is your first time coming to Sunset Yoga, welcome, welcome. Sorry for those on Instagram Live. I'm still figuring out how it will not just keep, whoop, there we go. Phone just fell. We'll work on having it not cut out, but otherwise, everyone, thank you so much for practicing, and I hope to see you again in future Sundays for Sunset Yoga. Take care.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.